Thank you, Dan. I would like to ask to load the presentation. I have lobbied heavily to have a presentation today, and thanks to Romina and Dan and the whole team, I did manage to do that. So I thought it would be interesting to have a couple of slides, to set the tone for the rest of the event. Today's event is focused on doing business in Ukraine. So a couple of slides with information about investing in Ukraine. I think it doesn't work. Clicker. It's working now. So, investing in Ukraine. Let's look at some figures. Ukraine is in difficult economic shape, and this is explainable because we are in the war. It's a full-scale, illegal military invasion of Ukraine. So our GDP has shrunk by 29.1% in 2022, but now we are getting back, and we have positive forecasts for 2023 and 2024. Our currency has dropped heavily as well at the beginning of the war, but since October 2022, you can see that our currency is quite stable, and this is thanks to actions of the government of Ukraine and also international support. And you can see the chart of the biggest supporters of Ukraine. US is the individually country #1 that provided support to Ukraine. Military, political, humanitarian, social, economic support, more than $80 billion. And also European countries and EU as the group, as the club of the countries. US is investor #8 in Ukraine, $1.3 billion as of 2021. I think we need to increase that number, and we have a very good potential to do that. So the next slide is very brief and short. Thank you, USA. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. For let us being independent, for let us being able to do business, to survive, and to be here today to talk about future of our countries. What we can do for you. Ukraine is not a charity project, it's a business project. It's a profitable country. And Ukraine is able to offer a number of incentives that are available for American industry specifically, for all international industry, and for Ukrainian companies. So Ukrainian government can offer a special investment agreement for investors that are doing business in Ukraine and planning new investment. You can choose applicable law to that contract with the government. You can choose a DR mechanism that will be applicable to that contract. You can fix business conditions at the moment when you sign this agreement. And also, if there will be any losses connected to actions of state for some reason, then you will be compensated by state. And there are many other things that are included in this incentive package. Investment projects can get up to 30% of state support of the capex invested in the country. Construction of related infrastructure can be done at the cost of the state. Up to 10 years CIT relief for companies that will do business in Ukraine now. And also CIT relief for specific industries. For example, if you manufacture electric vehicles, you will be exempt from taxes till 2036. And many of you will ask a question, how are you able to do that? Why are you doing this now? Because Ukraine is getting international support. Are you supposed to use at least part of that support to do the incentives? And I tell you yes, and I explain why. Because every FDI dollar that comes into Ukraine will generate additional dollar of local investment. And every working place that will be created through this incentive will generate at least 3 to 4 new working places, meaning more taxes, more ability to repay the debt, and to ensure even fruitful, better cooperation with our international partners. So we are thinking through carefully, and this is why we are doing that. Investment advantages. So you have investment incentives, but why to do business in Ukraine? Ukraine is a big European country. We have 19 FTAs with 46 countries. And these FTAs, they're different to what USA has, to what other countries have. That's why you will be able to penetrate new markets. We were granted EU candidate member status as of 23rd of June 2022, so we're joining the club soon, and I hope it will be sooner rather than later. The cost of rebuilding of Ukraine, at least $411 billion US dollars. That is the estimate that was given by World Bank at the beginning of summer 2023, and this is rising, unfortunately. According to estimations, that could rise up to 1 trillion or maybe even go beyond. This is an unfortunate case, but it's also a business perspective, a business opportunity to invest in Ukraine and to make profits. Right-shoring for US companies, and we call it right-shoring because we don't want to take a single American job from the US. We want you to expand to European continent, we want you to make more money, and at the same time creating working places in Ukraine. I don't know if many of you know, in 2021, there was a Savills nearshoring index. So Ukraine was ranked number 2 in that index out of 40 countries. Mexico, number 15th. Poland and Germany 39th, and Poland 19th. So you can see the potential for the nearshoring, but let's do this right-shoring. So it's relocating to the country with the most benefit for American industry, at the same time creating jobs in Ukraine and keeping in the US. Investment opportunities. I can talk for hours now about specific investment projects and specific industries. I have only a couple of them, just to give you a flavor. Industrial equipment for SMEs alone, our modest estimation, $25 billion at least. So this equipment can be produced in the US and supplied to Ukraine in the form of investments into Ukrainian companies. Energy efficiency, at least $27 billion are needed in order to transform our industry, transportation, households, and that would help us to save at least $7 billion a year in bills, paying for the bills by people and by industry. And today you have head of the Energy Efficiency Agency in this room, so please talk to her and she will explain to you in details. Construction materials, at least $1 billion is needed to build construction factories, and we have some big investments in our room today, and where they will be talking about their projects in Ukraine. At least 20 fields in oil and gas that needs investments, and that would help diversify our energy supplies and also make profits for American companies. And this is the map. This is what's happening in terms of new investments that happened and started after the 24th of February 2022. Carlsberg, $40 million. Semark, $30 million. Bayer, $65 million. Nestle, $40 million. Sergiy, $60 million. And the cherry on the cake, Kingspan, Irish global company that will invest at least $300 million in a greenfield project in Lviv. And they will build at least 6 factories and will produce energy efficient construction materials. Thank you to Mike and the team for doing that, and also thank you for calling this project Sergiy. Translated from Irish, old Gaelic language, it means freedom from oppression. Thank you very much for doing this business in Ukraine. And I specifically want to show you the map. In red, you can see the front line and occupied territories. And in green, you can see where investment projects are happening. So Ukraine is not a big country in US terms. We are the size of the Texas, but in European terms, we're big. So the distance between front lines and the projects where they've been implemented, you can compare them to size of 2 or 3 small European countries. So it's a big distance, and we are happy to accommodate you in Ukraine. And thank you to American companies that invested in Ukraine for many years and still do business. They keep jobs, they pay taxes, companies like Cargill, Coca-Cola, Citibank, EPAM, Bunge, Visa, and many others. Thank you very much for doing business in Ukraine. Many more information about Ukraine, about doing business in Ukraine, investment projects, You can check this information if you scan this QR code. It's called UkraineInvest Guide, and also you will find information about regions of Ukraine. Contact us. We are Investment Promotion Office of the Government of Ukraine. We have a good track record. Since 2020, we have supported attraction of more than $1.7 billion to Ukrainian economy. And I would like to finish my talk with two quotes from two great men. One of them is the national hero of Ukraine, President Zelensky, who said that Ukraine is not only free, proud, and strong, but also open for business. And the other person is the national hero of the United States, the first president of the United States, George Washington, who said, let's not live for tomorrow, which can be done today. So let's talk business today. You have extensive business delegation from Ukraine in our room. Thank you very much, and I wish you a fruitful cooperation.